Chairman Pai, like you, one of my top priorities is expanding broadband access to rural America. And I know Commissioner Carr understands that's, having been in my district and heard my repeated whining about broadband needs, and Commissioner O'Reilly as well. Thank you for listening to my whining also, but it's an important thing. And yesterday I led a letter with my colleagues from the Michigan delegation to you outlining the need to reform the Commission's broadband availability maps. And Mr. Chairman, I'd like to enter this letter into the record.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you. As you know, the Commission's proceeding to modernize its data collection has been open for almost a year. I also want to thank our Republican leader, Walden, for his focus on this issue going back a number of years. My question is, when examining potential fixes to this process, have you coordinated with other federal agencies that track broadband availability or other federal support for the deployment of broadband facilities to ensure your data collection is standardized to the greatest extent possible?
I appreciate the question, Congressman. The answer is yes. For example, we've worked with the Department of Commerce, the Department of Agriculture, as well as non-industry stakeholders to figure out the appropriate way forward.
This certainly seems like a building block to better interagency coordination and
I would agree.
lacking wasting of resources. Chairman Pai, yesterday the Commission announced it authorized the release of another $111 million in CAF II funding to expand broadband to unserved areas. While none of it went to Michigan, including where I live and where I am unserved myself, I'm hopeful subsequent authorizations recognize the unserved communities in my district and throughout the state. The Commission recently announced that it's contemplating a $20 billion Rural Digital Opportunities Fund to offer high-cost universal service support. How do you plan to coordinate with federal agencies like the Rural Utility Service at the Department of Agriculture to ensure those funds aren't used to support projects that are competing against other federally subsidized projects?
A great question, Congressman. First, though, I want to make sure that I make clear that the initial disbursement of funds that you referenced yesterday, there are other winners for the Connect America Fund who are in Michigan. It wasn't just in this tranche, however, so we'll keep you posted. We certainly want your constituents and you to get the benefits of broadband.
Well, we look forward to that.
Absolutely. With respect to your question, there are a few different things that we would like to see in the Rural Digital Opportunities, and I would like to see, depending, of course, on the Commission's assent. One is to use that basic mechanism of the reverse auction to encourage all kinds of companies to compete. For example, electric utilities, cable companies, and others might have a deeper footprint in your district than a traditional recipient of those funds. We want to encourage all of them to compete. Additionally, we have service thresholds that we believe will encourage the highest quality service. So it's not enough to say, as the previous Connect America Fund did, well, 10.1 megabits per second service, that's good enough. 25.3 we think should be the standard, and our hope is that we'll be able to encourage that. Additionally, accountability. We want to make sure those funds are used for the purpose that they're intended for, and so there will be accountability mechanisms to make sure that if somebody says we're going to serve that district in Michigan, they do in fact serve it within the time frame and at the service threshold they promise us they will.
Good. We don't just want talking points, and
yeah, absolutely.
We feel we deserve that service as well. So thank you. Commissioner O'Reilly, is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, I would just add that as nice as, and I agree with my colleague's point, other agencies will have the coordination, will have the conversation, but absent congressional statutory language, they have a tendency to go their own route. And that's what we've seen in conversations with outside parties with what's happening at the Department of Agriculture, and we've seen that in the past as it relates to the Department of Commerce. So absent Congress saying that this is what we expect, that it's not just coordination, that actually duplication, that no overbuilding happen, then the areas that we're going to spend time on are not going to be the unserved areas, such as in your particular case.
Okay, one final point, and I know it's running out of time. The workforce. What is the Commission doing to ramp up the workforce?
Great question, and Commissioner Carr's done a lot of work on the infrastructure side. I'll say just very briefly, since time is short, we set up a working group as part of our Broadband Deployment Advisory Committee to look at the jobs, trainings, and other necessary steps to build that workforce of the future. These are high-quality, good-paying jobs, but they won't be filled if we don't make an effort to encourage that pipeline of workers. So happy to work with you on that, and this is something that I think could have application around the country. This infrastructure is needed everywhere.
Thank you. Thank you. I yield back.